it's Janely as girlfriend. We're here to do a video for Cimoooooooo's channel, so let's go. Who are you?
Hi, I'm at Acepcion, part of Team Jobber, and I'm here because Cimoooooooooo asked me to do a video for my 69th place deck profile. Woo! I went X2-1 in Swiss, so I had a topping record. However, my tiebreakers were not that good, so I was one of the X2-1s to not make it. And I decided to play a very interesting deck for Nationals, which would be Burning Abyss. I felt Burning Abyss would be probably the best deck to take because of the new time rule. It is a deck, it's an aggressive deck, so like because there's not much decision making, like many combos, the games end very quickly, and I get to really control the pace of the game, and I get to do a bunch of damage. And if it goes into time, I have cards like Barbar that let me do a lot of damage. But another reason is because the format's in like a weird spot where Trickstar can't really do much to Adante, and Goki is really susceptible to hand traps. And I decided that Burning Abyss was a very, very consistent and concise deck that I can build it to beat the meta. And I know it won the UK Nationals, however, that build I felt went against how I felt Burning Abyss should be built, because Burning Abyss's main strength is a lot of main deck cards like Droll Lockbird, Ghosted Ogre, stuff like that. Even like Shared Ride are very bad against it. So I decided on playing Burning Abyss, and this is my deck. So the heart and soul of the Burning Abyss deck, I believe, is 3 Fiendish Rhino Warrior. So basically, Fiendish Rhino Warrior gets a lot better because of Master Rule 4. So with Master Rule 4, it doesn't let your Burning Abyss monsters, you know, live if you have Link monsters, but this card basically lets you basically spam the board. Another great, the bad thing about Rhino is because it's not a Burning Abyss monster, and its effect prevents other fiends from getting destroyed. If your opponent has Veiler or Infinite Impermanence, it becomes a huge liability. Also, there's added utility because it dumps any fiend, and it dumps a special fiend that I teched in my deck that gave my deck a huge advantage against decks like Trickstar. So he's really good, but the problem is he gets Veiler, he gets Impermanence. So a lot of times, a lot of the BA players would always rush this out because it gives you a lot of advantage, but I try to summon this the least amount until I know for sure they don't have Veiler or Impermanence. And there's a lot of cards that can like bait it out. So we're playing Burning Abyss, so we're playing a big, somewhat big Burning Abyss engine. We're playing 3 Farfa. So Farfa and Alec are actually the most important BAs when it comes to making Beatrice, because one of the problems with Beatrice is that cards like Ash and Permanence exist, and by having this under a Beatrice lets you be able to interrupt your opponent while not being susceptible to Ash. Farfa is obviously obvious, but I want to talk about Alec. So Alec is really interesting because it has a lot of outplay potential. So a common play is in the Sky Strike deck is for them to activate Ray's effect. And if they activate Ray's effect, if you have a Beatrice, you can actually chain her effect to dump Alec. And then when they activate Kagari's effect, you can go they have to go chain link 1 because they have turn player priority to activate Kagari's effect. And then because this was sent to the graveyard, it activates in the same chain link, allowing you to negate it. So having Farfa and Alec underneath basically lets your Beatrice always go through and doesn't get stopped by cards like Widow, Anchor, and Ash. However, I decided to play not 3 Alec because it doesn't actually do as much as Farfa. Farfa helps you push for damage. And then the last BA I play a 3 of is Skarm. He's really important because in the matchup versus Sky Strike, the way you win is get like a critical mass of BAs so you can swarm the board. And the key to beating Sky Strike with Burning Abyss is to basically play play with a low resource game, because when you don't commit to the field. So when you like commit to the field, you get punished a lot by cards like Widow Anchor or Afterburner. So the whole point of Burning Abyss versus Sky Strike is to do little bits of damage or large bunch of bits of damage and hide behind cards that let you +1. So Skarm definitely helps on that. And just like Rhino being a very important part of the deck, Libic is very important because a common issue with the deck is because of Master Rule 4, you usually have Beatrice in the extra monster zone. And when it's in the extra monster zone, basically you can't really do anything because you can't summon your BAs. So Libic basically helps you, let you spam the board with Burning Abysses because Libic lets you special summon a Fiend from your hand and his effects are negated. So he's really good. And then of course you have the two staple one of BAs, Seer and Graph. So in this deck, so in any Burning Abyss deck now, because these cards are at 1, they are kind of like bricks because you'd rather just mill them instead of hard draw them. Like, I don't want to special summon Seer because I can't use the effect. But I play a certain card that makes cards like Seer and Graph not a brick if you normal summon special. Graph is highly important because Graph and Rhino are highly important because if you open up Graph or Rhino and a BA, you get to make Beatrice. And I'll show the combos later. And then lastly is Calcab. So at first I was playing 3 Calcab because against Sky Strike and Trickstar, a lot of things you want to do is bounce their sets. However, I don't think that's super high impact, but it's for what it is, it's really good. And you need a certain amount of BAs. So I tried to make the deck as consistent as possible. So I played a much higher BA count than normal. Than other decks. I think the one that won played 12, but I played 14. I really wanted to play 15, but I couldn't fit it. And then Barbar, the star of the show. I actually won my last round on the bubble because, on my tiebreakers, I didn't get in. I won because I actually Barbared in time. He basically attacked the set, and I burned him for 900. So that's cool. And then to supplement the BAs, we have 2... 1 card Dante's, 1 Crane. Crane is actually a really good card, and I think I should have played 2, maybe. It's not a full starter card, but it's really good mid to late game, and it's great because it doesn't get ashed. And here's actually the worst card in my deck, and I think it's almost it's blasphemy to say this card is not good in this deck. While Tour Guide is a starter card and a 1 card Dante and actually a 1 card Beatrice, the problem is it's so susceptible to hand traps, and it's a lot better to search off Skarm as a power play. So a lot of times when people play BA, if they see this card, they want to summon it immediately. However, it's so easily interruptible that you want to save it as kind of your last and final push. And then the next part of the deck basically is the hand traps. Hand traps are super important because I play no spells or traps besides Sekka's Light. So I want to interrupt my opponent in any way possible. So I play 2 Effect Veiler and 2 Ogre. So while these cards are not that great against Trickstar, which I felt was going to be the most popular deck, I knew decks like Pendulum and Goki were going to be really, really popular because they're basically a high-risk, high-reward deck that really punishes Trickstar for being such a low ceiling. So I wanted to play these cards, and I did an even split because I didn't want to see 2 against Trickstar. Even though this card, Veiler, is pretty good against Trickstar if they don't draw Licorice, and some people only play 2 Licorice. And then I play 3 Ash Blossom and Spring. Basically, it's the most generic hand trap. Stops your opponent. It's subpar against certain decks, but you always want it in your main deck because it's the most safest card. And then the God card itself, Troll and Lockbird. So if you open up, I joked in the tournament that I was playing an FTK deck. If I open up 2 Burning Abysses and a Troll and Lockbird, I win. And basically, that's what happened. So I opened this a lot. And basically you stun your opponent for a turn and you just kill them. And then to supplement the BAs, I have boss monsters. I have Big Poppy, Blackluster Soldier. So Blackluster Soldier is actually the best card in the deck. So what it does is it applies so much pressure to every single deck that it just kills them. It's crazy that this card does so much damage. It's cool because a common trend is playing 2 Licorice. So if you banish 1 Licorice and you're able to banish the other in some way, then their deck actually doesn't do much. And to be honest, is a boss monster, and I think for BA to win, it needs to have ways to play around Master Rule 4, and by playing boss monsters, it gives you a big way to play around Master Rule 4. Because a lot of times you leave Beatrice out. And then the one of Orbital Hydralander, shout out to Noah, he told me to play 3, but I played 1 because it is actually incredibly dead, but I decided on playing another engine that let me basically search BLS. And then next, this is the Spice engine. I played 3 Destiny Hero Malicious and 1 Fabled Soulkiss. So everyone knows what Malicious does. Malicious, you know, banish it to special summon itself. But Fabled Soulkiss, what that does is it lets you discard 2 cards to special summon it from the graveyard. It's an inherent summon, so you know if they call by the grave, they have to preemptively do it. And basically, what this deck does, what this engine does, that it gives you cards that your opponent wants to ash, but it doesn't actually cost you anything. As long as you mill Malicious and banish it, it forces out ash immediately. And because they ash that, it basically lets you activate Tour Guide next turn. Another thing with Malicious is it lets you turn your Dantes into ISOL Days, which lets you search BLS. And also there's a turn 1 combo. If you open up a Rhino, a BA, and Malicious anywhere in your hand or in the graveyard, you can mill it. You end with Beatrice and ISOL Day. And Fabled Soulkiss is it's basically like the linchpin of the deck. Basically, a common thing is you need to do as much damage as possible. This deck isn't about card advantage. It's about just dropping as much attack points on the board as possible. So Fabled Soulkiss basically lets you turn your dead cards into a body. And the thing is, BAs basically, they're cool to be discarded. Like a common play I would do is like discard Seer, special summon this, and then link with a Dante into like a Phoenix or Underclock Taker. So this engine, I think, should be played in every Burning Abyss deck. This engine gives the deck so much reach, so much potential, because the problem with BA is not being able to link, and by milling a Dante, you get 2 free links, and then Soulkiss lets you link a lot. And this is my one of Ceruvius. I did not actually think Pure Skystrike would be a very good deck for this tournament because of the time rule. So I decided to somewhat respect it by playing 1, but not by playing any. And then every deck has like at least Unicorn in their extra deck. So this helps a lot. And then the final card is Snow. Snow is very important to this deck because it basically lets your Beatrice like give you a card that will always be able to interrupt your opponent. But Snow has another great effect, which is it lets you play around Call by the Grave a lot. So a common thing about the BA deck is Call to the Grave hurts it a lot, and also Call to the Grave hurts hand traps. But a common thing I would do is I would have, let's say, a Droll and Lockbird, right? If you Droll and Lockbird and you have Snow in the grave and they Call to the Grave, what you can do is you can banish Droll and Lockbird for Snow's effect. And because Droll and Lockbird's not banished by Call to the Grave, it's going to resolve. So having Snow in the graveyard basically protects all your hand traps by Call to the Grave, which is very helpful. And I did that against a lot of my opponents. And then 3 Seconds Light. It's Pot of Greed. Pot of Desires is my favorite card of all time. And why wouldn't you play Pot of Greed? Also, it helps because you play cards like Snow, this guy, and then like this guy and that guy. Like big guys that are just bricks. And basically it just helps you mulligan. It helps you search for that missing combo piece you need. it's the reason why this deck exists, because it's just free pluses. So, here's my extra deck. So, of course, you know, I played BA, so I played 2 Dante. I never needed to make the third one. It's cool because 2 Dantes turns into Isolde, but also it turns into, what is it called? It's just like free cards. And the cool thing about this deck is Dante adds back cards to your hand, so the Nightmares can basically always have free free discard fodder, because you always get the +1 from Dante in the grave. And here's Beatrice, or Beatrice. She's the deck. She's the reason why the deck is so strong. The fact that Trickstar and sometimes even pure Sky Strike can't even beat this card efficiently is crazy. It just lets you, it just has so much versatility. That's why it's so good. And then Pilgrim. Basically, you only summon Pilgrim if they kill Beatrice. He's really good. There's a lot of cool combos where you can do. You can discard Farfa to banish him, and when he comes back, you can discard another card. He's really good. Auto win against Trickstar. Basically, the only thing that you have to worry about is board load. My favorite Link monster in the deck. So I like to joke that this is my Link BA deck, because I actually link a lot. And I think that's a common problem that they have, that a lot of BA players have. And that's why a lot of people thought this deck was bad, because you just leave Beatrice on board, you don't do anything. But I actually link with Beatrice a lot, because after, against certain matchups like Goki, once you use the Beatrice effect, it doesn't really do anything. So linking it into monsters of the game. But you play 2 Underclock Taker because it's important, because if you open a Graph or Rhino, it lets you make a turn 1 Beatrice just with that. But it's really good because, again, this deck is just all about damage. Just sneaking in damage is crazy. And also, if your opponent has 1 monster and you have a BLS, that is 7,000 damage. So this reduces it by 3,000. You attack. That's 6,000. That's 1,000. 1 bar is this game. You can banish a Malicious. And that's 78. 1 bar is 900. So it's like an absurd amount of damage. Next we have DDD King Darius. DDD King Darius is amazing because it outs board load, outs the Diabolos and anything. It also burns damage. Levier, it's kind of like an MVP for me. Basically, Levier lets you bring back monsters that you banish with snow. Bringing back Rhino is really, really cool because once you bring back the Rhino, you can special summon all your BAs. And also, it's really cool because whenever your monsters, like, a common thing is they call by the Grave Seer. And when you call by the Grave Seer, it sucks. So you make a Levier to bring it back. And then, you get back your Dante. Isolde. Isolde serves 2 purposes. Basically, it turns your Malicious plus a Dante into a BLS, or just 2 Dantes into a BLS, or Dante and a BLS. And it's really good. Also, I side cherries, so it's very helpful having a card you actually play in the main deck to stop the Goki deck. The Goki deck. Also, it's really cool because in the Sky Strike matchup, you never want to leave BLS on board, because a common way they can kill you is they Widow Anchor you. So you kind of like turn your BLS into a wind-up rabbit by making your BLS go to the graveyard, and you search just a new copy of BLS. And then you could use it for next turn. Then next we have the Nightmare package. I play a relatively small one. I play 2 Phoenix. Phoenix is very important because it is a fiend. So when people play cards like Rivalry of Warlords, you still get to actually game. You actually get to still play. And also because you're playing a spell and trapless deck, basically, you need ways to interact with spells and traps, and Phoenix lets you do that. I chose not to play Cerberus because I play cards like BLS and Farfa that help get monsters out of the way. And then Unicorn. Unicorn's really, really good. Basically just outs anything. Lets you like ride up the chain. Like you can go like Phoenix, banish Malicious, then make a Nightmare Unicorn. And it's really, really strong. And then I play Triple Burst. Triple Burst is very pivotal to this deck because a common issue with the deck is losing to Ray. Well, not losing to Ray, but because Ray blocks a lot of damage. So basically this card stops Ray's effect, but also it has the fun fact of if they attack you with Lilybell and you have triple burst dragon on the field, you can negate Lilybell's effect. It also stops like random cards that activate during the damage to that. And it has like a random secondary effect of special summoning back Underclock Taker. So this definitely should be in like all BA decks. Then I played Trisbania. Trisbania is really good because it lets you burn in time, and you play a lot of cards that you can just special summon for free. So like you can special summon a Burning Abyss, and then it triggers. You can special summon Snow, special summon Malicious. He's crazy good. And finally, I played Boarload. The main reason why I played Boarload is because Boarload is just an out to everybody else's Boarload, so you kind of have to play it. And it's just really good, like best generic rank 4. I didn't like Saruja because Saruja is only good if you draw Rhino, so this card's like good almost all the time. So for my side deck, I actually sold it at the event, but I sided. So let's just say these are two Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansions. So basically, the reason why Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansions so good is because Call of the Grave is super important against BA, and cards like DD Crow exist, and just basically anything that stops graveyard effects is really like hard to deal with. So playing Ghost Bell is really important. So there's my Ghost Bells. Limited edition, they're ghost rare. So I played the Cherries package. I played only 2 Cherries because Cherries like one of those cards where it's like you never want to see too much of it, but more importantly because Cherries is not good after turn 1. So it's not that good, and also it's like really important because I was really scared of mirror matches because of the UK National Championship, and this definitely helps out a lot. And for the Cherries, I play 1 Kagari. Basically, Pure is somewhat of a tough matchup, but I side for it a lot. And this basically, the way you beat Pure is by grinding it out or OTKing. And by cherrying this, you basically grind them out. Electromite, shout out to Walter Jules and Steven Chufanowski, putting the fear of God in me of this deck. So basically, yeah, you just cherries Electromite, and they don't stick to the game plan, and they don't win. So a deck that I super respected was actually Altergeist and True Draco, because those are actually BA's worst matchups, because Altergeist has Kieran, and True Draco just had... If you can't kill their monsters by battle, then you're not going to win the game, because you're not going to clear their board. So I decided 2 Evenly Match and 3 Twin Twister. I couldn't find the room for the 3rd Evenly, so just 2 is fine. But you can do a lot of cool stuff, like you can say Enter Battle Phase, and they're gonna Mind Crush you. And if you have Twin Twister, you can just discard Twin Twister. You can chain Twin to the Mind Crush, discard your Evenly, or just chain Twin to the Mind Crush because they think you have Evenly, and you get like a +4 because they discard a card, they lose the Mind Crush, and you target 2 other cards. So like these cards are very important. Also against Pure Sky Strike, I opt second after game 2 and 3, and I side this and the Cherries, and then the rest of the cards in my side deck, which are 3 Kaijus. So obviously, like you're probably wondering why I don't play 3 Gameciel, but I play 1 of each different Kaiju because Hydrolander, and that comes up sometimes because Hydrolander needs 5 different cards. And so the Kaijus are really important because against Goki, I don't think Sphere Mode is that good because of Aqua Dolphin. Aqua Dolphin, before it was ruled at Nationals that Aqua Dolphin could not discard Sphere Mode, in testing, when I had Sphere Mode and they Aqua Dolphin me, I never wanted them to discard it. So I wanted to have a card that could not be discarded. And also, a great way to beat BA is go summon Goblin to summon Phoenix next to each other. And you basically, BA has like no out besides like Hydrolander. And the Kaijus basically break up that combo. And Sphere Mode isn't good if you play a bunch of hand traps, because just like what I said in like my Invoke deck profiles, that like cards that break boards aren't good if you play hand traps, because when you play a hand trap, it makes their board weak, so the card has less impact. So yeah, that is my deck. It sucks that I got 69th. I really wanted the top nationals 3 years in a row, but I really believe Burning Abyss has a really good shot for like European nationals, and it's just really, really good in general. It's a strong deck, and it's very, I firmly believe it's like very complicated because there's a lot of like small interactions and stuff like that. And I just wanted to show the combo. I just want to show how to do the combo with Rhino and Sulkius. So basically, all you need in the combo, and it sounds like it's a pretty hard combo to accomplish, but in all reality, like all you need to do is mill Malicious or draw Malicious, and you open up like a really good board. So basically, all you need is a Phoenix Rhino Warrior and ABA, and you can have Malicious in your hand. So let's just say your hand is just snow, like this. Let's just say your hand is like this. So this hand is actually the nuts. So basically, what you're gonna want to do is normal summon Rhino and special summon Skarm. I mean Farfa or whatever BA you have. Then you make a Dante. Then Dante will mill. So what you want to do is you want to mill the Rhino, and then with Rhino's effect, what you want to do is to send Fabled Soulkiss to the graveyard. So obviously you're gonna mill 3, but for just demonstration's sake, you just dump Fabled Soulkiss, and then now with your Malicious and your Snow, or Malicious and any card in your hand, you discard to summon back the Fabled Soulkiss, and then once that's like this, then you can banish the Malicious to special summon another copy of Malicious, then link with both to special summon Dante. And then it lets you add back the Burning Abyss to your hand. And then you banish the last copy of Malicious to summon Malicious. And then now you can make Beatrice, hard make Beatrice, which lets you send anything from your deck immediately turn 1. So normally you would send Snow, but at this point you could like send Skarm or like anything else. So yeah, that's the combo, and it was really good, and it's cool, but I did it a lot. And when I did it, I basically auto-won because this switches BLS, and then you have a full stack graveyard. You have plus 3 cards you milled for Snow, and you have a Beatrice that can activate turn 1. So you end with like a +3. So yeah, so that was my deck. I just have some shout-outs to everybody that I saw at Nationals. I love you all. You make Yu-Gi-Oh! Super duper like great. Shout-outs to everyone that said hi to me and just said, what's up? I want you to say hi to me. I love talking to people. I love just being part of the community. I want to be a positive member of the community. Thank you to Cimo for helping me do my deck profiles. Shoutouts to Jobber, to everyone. Shoutouts to Shad, I love you. Shoutouts to Benji for beating cancer. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Bye.